I don't know, I think as human beings, we naturally want to know the why of things. Well, why does it work? For me, you telling me that, I'm like, absolutely, I believe it. And I already meditate and I see the benefits and I feel the benefits. And I'm attracting the benefits of meditation. But I think that there's people who need that scientific evidence as to.
So, welcome to the KD show, Sarah. It's a great privilege talking to you. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm doing really well. Just trying to stay warm. It's quite cold here, but yeah, doing well.
Okay. We are going to discuss a lot of things today, and I'm really very excited for this event. And before we touch upon the topic of your connection with Rotary, how has your school life been?
When I was a teacher or a student?
As a student.
As a student, I loved school. I was privileged enough to go to really amazing schools my entire life. A lot of them inspired creativity. They were project based, so we were creating a lot of projects and videos, and it was an inspiring place for me. And I'm weird and I love taking notes and highlighting and doing all those school things. And so I loved school. I dabbled in a bunch of different interests like theater and woodworking and yoga and watercolor. So I loved school because it exposed me to so much. But I know that's not everyone's experience.
Did you ever get bullied?
I didn't. I had issues. I remember in sixth grade with a few girls, but I don't think it was anything out of the ordinary. Usually that middle school age, kids are kind of trying to figure out who they are, and they're maybe hanging with kids that are inspiring some negative behavior, and I think that's all it was. I think I was fortunate. I had my own tiffs with maybe some girls, but I never felt that I was bullied. I never didn't want to go to school because I was being treated a certain way. So I was really fortunate.
What is the educational framework there? Like in India, up to 10th standard, we study all the subjects, which includes science, political science, history, English, then Hindi, and we have one regional language that is Punjabi here. And after, like, I took up science, then which continues up to post graduation. And what is the framework like there?
Pretty similar. From kindergarten, so age 5, all the way up to 12th grade, which is age 17, 18. There's standards that need to be taught that cover English language arts, math, science, social studies. In primary grades, there's electives. So like PE, music, art, science. Some places have garden or language. But in high school, the basics are English, math, science, and then you fill in the rest with different electives. And then once you graduate high school, most people, or not everyone though, will go on to college or the university and focus in one particular area.
Do you have to learn any other language also?
You don't have to. When I was in high school, we had to take a language. So I took Spanish for 4 years, but if you're proficient in that or not, won't affect whether or not you're able to graduate. Which is kind of unfortunate for us because, how beautiful for us to be able to connect because another language. And I think that we would really benefit from that. But
so you were a teacher, right?
I was, yes, for 6 years.
For 6 years. What did you teach?
Second grade.
Second grade. Which subjects? Like what did you teach?
All of them. So in elementary, you have one teacher for all of your courses. So yeah, reading, math, science, social studies, all of it.
You are extremely charismatic. What is the secret behind this?
Oh, gosh. I think not taking yourself too seriously. You can't take anything too seriously. Like, life is supposed to be fun and full of these ups and downs. And so I think you just have to laugh at yourself and keep moving along.
I want to lighten up the mood. I want to discuss about relationships. I mean, what
Okay.
exactly do the girls see in a guy first? Like, what attracts you in a guy first?
I would say I gravitate towards really anybody who's funny. Like, if you can make me laugh, then I'm pretty much set. Like, but then underneath that, are they compassionate and open-minded? That's a really big thing for me, because I think that there are so many different interests and ideas and opinions. And I think that in order to really be able to connect on a deeper level, you must be open-minded and curious. And so I think that that's also really important. But off the bat, I think being funny. Someone who is motivated, passionate about something, even if it's not something I understand or am necessarily passionate about, as long as they have that drive to do something or find meaning in life, I think that is really important. Someone who's flexible and able to adapt easily to unforeseen circumstances is important, and doesn't, again, take life too seriously, because I think you miss a lot when you.
And again, he has to be unpredictable sometimes. Like,
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And who loves to travel, because I love traveling and meeting new people. And so I think somebody who embraces that lifestyle would be great too.
and this is usually said that if you want to know about your prospective husband or wife a lot, you have to travel with them. You'll come to know a lot about them.
I agree. I think with anyone, though, too, with friends, you really see who people are once you travel. I completely agree with that.
And how many countries have you visited?
You know, I think I'm only at, I think, 13 or 14. So I still have so many more to see, but it's a good start. I'm very grateful for them.
Okay, so if you had to condense your life into 3 learnings, what would these be?
3. Oh man, that's a great question. The first one that comes to mind is to try to be present. I think that in our society, we're very impatient and fast paced and have a lot of distractions, with our phones or TVs or our computers. And that it's not oftentimes that we like to sit still and just be. And I think when you are able to do that, you're able to really embrace the life that you're living. And I think you don't miss as much, because I think that there's a lot of beauty that comes from being present. And we're not taught to do that as children. At least here, I know when I visited one of the schools in India, the children were showing me all these yoga poses that they were doing. And I think that mindfulness is practiced there, right? And children are exposed to that at an early age. But here, that's not really prioritized, which is sad. So I think that my very first thing would be, trying to be present as much as possible has been really effective for me.
Do you meditate?
I do.
For how much time?
Depends on the day and my mindset. It's funny because, the days that you don't want to means you probably should do it for longer. And I think it depends on what's going on. But on a day where I kind of have to get up and go, it'll be maybe 5 minutes, but it's gone on up to an hour and a half if I'm really, really grounded. but I try to every day.
I want to discuss something with you. So, there was a study in which a bunch of people were divided into two groups. One of the groups was told to meditate, and the other one was told not to meditate. And the group that meditated for 2 months had a larger amount of cerebrum in their brains. So, cerebrum is the part of the brain that is the seat of intelligence. So, the bigger cerebrum you have in your brain, the more intelligent you are. So, actually, they became more intelligent.
That's amazing and makes sense.
Their brain showed yet another drastic change. So there's a part in the brain that's called amygdala. The bigger the amygdala you have, the more you react to a surprise or a problem. So the people that meditated showed a decrease in the amygdala size, which is amazing.
That's amazing. See, and I don't think that people understand the science because I don't know, I think as human beings, we naturally want to know the why of things. Well, why does it work? For me, you telling me that, I'm like, absolutely, I believe it. And I already meditate and I see the benefits and I feel the benefits. And I'm attracting the benefits of meditation. But I think that there's people who need that scientific evidence as to how meditation works. I think if more people knew things like this, they would be more inclined to meditate, or I hope they would be, or to even
There
just
have been a
explore what
lot
that would
of
look like.
evidences. There have been a lot of evidences supporting this.
Yeah, and I don't know why it's not. Although, you know what, this is when I get confused because I think it is so important to do, and I think it's important for children to practice. But I also think it's something that can't be forced because I think that the second you try and force someone to do it, they're missing part of the benefits of it, And I think that wanting to do it is the biggest motivational factor. And so I get kind of conflicted because I think children should be exposed to it so that as they grow up, it's just a part of their daily routine. But I also think that if they're not inclined to do it, then they shouldn't be forced to do it. I don't know.
Sometimes people ask me that what is the end goal of meditation? There isn't any
There's
end goal
no
of
end
meditation.
goal.
Yeah, like you take food, like you take water. There is not an end goal. Like it should be. It's like a daily. It should be like a part of your daily routine.
Exactly. And it's ongoing.
It's a way of life.
Yes. Yes. But I think that's how we also think, well, how do you know when you've reached that? Well, you don't. Like there's not something to reach.
Like you keep getting better
Yeah.
in life. You will experience a number of benefits inside you.
Right. And it never ends. It just evolves. It really transformed my life and it just is who it's a part of me now.
Sarah, what do you do to stay fit?
Ooh, I it's probably going to sound really stupid. Well, I used to go to the gyms, but now they're closed here. But now I do these online videos and they're a mix of yoga and some cardio and body weights. And it's really, I love it because they take the foundations of yoga and it's all about, holding the poses and adjusting your body so you're properly aligned. And it's taught me a lot about my practice because I had been doing so many poses incredibly wrong. And they're really great at, making sure that your ribs are tucked in and wrapped around. And they just explain things in a way that I can feel the shift in my body. So I've been really good with that. And I love to run outside.
Perfect. Sarah, how important are looks for you?
I think if they're taking care of themselves, that's all that matters. But looks have never been a big thing of mine. Oh my gosh, my cat.
What's the real beauty for you? Where does the beauty lie?
Oh, in the heart. 100% in the heart. Yeah.
I mean, how do we actually come to know about the beauty of a person? Like, we cannot look into the heart.
Right. I think I think it's something that can be felt. Um, First and foremost, I think you feel it, but I also think that you can see that in the way they treat other people. And that's a big thing. And I think those are the two. The way the room feels when they're in it and the way you feel when you're with them, I think is something to not be overlooked. I think we all are very intuitive and we can kind of sense when something is right and when it's not. And I think paying attention to that kind of opens up your understanding of the what's actually inside the heart of the other person.
Sarah, what did you learn about the psychology of students when you taught in school?
That is so much. I've actually, it was more observations, and now that I'm out of it, I've been doing a lot of research, and so I've learned way more. I learned when teaching that these academics the standards we hold our children to aren't developmentally appropriate for their age. And especially, where I taught was on the east side of town. So it's a very under-resourced area. And a lot of these kids, don't know where their next meal is coming from or are currently experiencing trauma, aren't sleeping at night for one reason or another, or, there's 15 people in one place. So, and then they come to school and then we expect them to just work all day long with very few breaks for them to just socialize with each other or run around outside. And so I noticed, their social emotional needs weren't being met. And then as they got older, it just progressively got worse and they became stressed or depressed or angry, and were acting out because they didn't know what else to do. They've never been given the tools and strategies like meditation or mindfulness to help navigate through what they're feeling. And so I saw the ripple effects of my kids, coming to school at a young age and being really eager to learn and to socialize, right? They just have this light about them and they're just so curious about the world. And then as the year progressed, they just kind of stopped. And school became this really boring experience, and learning was no longer fun or personal. And I've learned now the science behind the brain and how when we restrict our children from talking about things verbally and interacting with others, how it really does hinder the development of their brain. And so it's just scary to see and imagine what they will be like as adults, knowing that this has been taken from them.
Our kids are like blank pages. We write on that. Society writes on that. And sometimes we are also sometimes responsible to suppress that curiosity. We don't give them, the perfect platform that should be there for them. I want to share another story with you. So it is said that teens are not able to take the right decision sometimes. Like they get stuck. They are always in a dilemma. Teens are not able to take the right decision. So this is due to that our frontal cortex, that is a part of cerebrum, our frontal cortex is responsible for taking the decisions. So when as we age, the development of brain takes place from the posterior side to the anterior side, and the complete development of brain completes at the age of 22 or 23. So teens are not able to take the right decisions due to that, because the frontal cortex of them is not completely developed at that time.
And that's crazy, yeah. Well, and even learning, and I don't know, and the terms much better than I do because I just know left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. So I know that I've learned that children for the first 3 to 4 years of their life, function using solely the right side of their brain. And it's when they start asking, so it's, they're highly emotional, and hence the tantrums and things like that. But then once they hit about 4, the left side of the brain starts to kick in, and that's when they start asking, well, why? Well, why this? And that they start to think logically, and they want to understand the meaning of things. And so I think for a lot of people, they don't know that. And once you understand the way the brain works, then all of a sudden you have a little bit more compassion for the kids and for why they respond to things the way they do, because they truly don't have any other way. So when a kid is throwing a fit because he got served a sandwich for lunch and he wanted pizza and he throws a fit, instead of getting angry at him, you understand, oh, he's responding in this way because this is how he knows to do it. And now I know how to monitor that or handle that in a way that won't cause guilt or shame for him, which I think is a really important thing, and something that education, our system, puts on a lot of our kids is guilt and shame.
Yeah.
And that's, oh my gosh, the worst thing to feel. Nobody wants to feel like those things. But that's just a part of their lives now.
Really. I'm really enjoying the conversation.
Me too. I love this. I could talk about this stuff all day.
Sarah, finally, what is your connection with Rotary? How did you come to get connected with it?
Yeah, Rotary has been in my life since I was born. My mom has been in Rotary in Las Vegas for, I guess I should say, 28 years. So almost as long as I've been alive. So whenever they would do community projects around here, she would bring me with her. And I grew up with Rotary just being in my life. And my mom has been really involved in it, president of her club. And we would go to Mexico through a program called Corazon and build homes in a day for a family. And I loved that. I love doing things like that. And then the India trip came up, and I love to travel and I love doing service work. And my mom had been, I think my mom in total has been 6 times. So she had gone 4 already, and then invited me to come along, and I went, and just an absolutely incredible experience. It was everything. Like, it gets me emotional. It was one of the highlights of my life. And so then I got to go again. And when we returned, my mom ended up forming her own Rotary Club here. So I am now in that. So now I'm a Rotarian officially as of this year. And I absolutely adore it. I think it's just the most beautiful organization. And I think what's important is, like, they listen to the needs of the community. I think I'm always really nervous about, the white savior complex of, we know what's best and let us help you, when that's not really helping. And so their Rotary has always been really mindful of that, or at least in my experiences. So it's like, what do you guys need and how can we show up for you? And I think that that's a really beautiful thing.
Like, what is the difference between your culture and their culture?
A lot. There's a lot of, and I think it depends on where.
Like in India?
In India, it's night and day. I think in India, what I notice is things there were done very intentionally. And I've said mindful a lot, but, the way we were spoken to and the way we were treated and the way, just watching the way you guys interact with each other and the way you live, everything is done so intentionally and mindfully and purposely. And that's something that I don't see us having here in America as much as you guys do. It's not practiced as much. And it's just a really harmonious, our experience in India was a very harmonious way of living.
You made a dam here that's helping a lot. The farmers are able to irrigate their fields with the water that gets stored there, and it's really helping. Hadn't you come, it wouldn't have been possible.
I thank you for sharing that. That's why you do things like that, right? People do acts of service because they want to make a positive change, so I'm so happy that it's benefiting the community. That's wonderful to hear.
Now this is the last section of the interview.
Okay.
I want to play a game with you.
I love games.
Never have I ever.
I'm familiar.
So the first one is, never have I ever crashed into a party.
A party? Like shown up uninvited?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've done.
Have you?
Yes. You've not?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it a big party? Did people notice you were there?
It was in my college time. There was a marriage that was going on, and I, with my 4 friends, were lurking around. We were too hungry, and I said that why don't we go into the marriage, and had a lot of food and then got back.
That's amazing. I've done it a few times. One in particular, it was a college party, and so there was a lot of people. But this one, it ended up being a fraternity party, and it was some special event, and we didn't know. It was my friends and I, and they ended up, we'd been there an hour, and there's music, and we're all hanging out, and it's great. But then there was like this ceremony that they started doing, and everyone knew what to say and when to say it, and my friends and I were and then they knew that we weren't meant to be there.
Never have I ever stalked an ex on social media.
I have.
So everyone is similar, whether it's in America or in
Yes,
India.
I think if anybody says they've never done that, they're not being truthful.
So next is, never have I ever played hooky from school.
I have. I think only a couple of times though, because I felt too guilty.
Did you tell your students later on? Or did they also get inspired?
Yeah, right. No, I think I was always honest with them. I would say, I needed a day. And I think when you can admit that to children, when you show them it's okay to take some time for yourself.
So next is, never have I ever fought in public.
Like physically fought or verbally?
Any.
I've never been in a fight, like a fist fight, so that's a no. I'm sure I've gotten in fights with people in public.
Never have I ever pranked someone.
Oh, yeah, I prank people all the time.
So you are a good prankster.
Oh, just scaring people I think is really fun. I do it to my roommate all the time. My mom, I would hide under her bed when she was getting ready for bed, and she would go to get in her bed and I'd grab her leg from underneath. Just little things like that I think are really funny.
So the next one is, never have I ever snooped through someone's stuff.
I honestly don't know if I've ever done that. I think I feel too guilty. I've thought about it, but I don't think I've ever actually snooped through people's things. It makes me feel weird.
Through someone's phone?
Oh, I have through... Okay, then yes, I have through one of my ex-boyfriends many years ago.
Okay. Never have I ever lied about my age.
No, I have not. Oh, no, I had. When I was 15, I lied and said I was 16. That's it.
Why do always girls hide their age?
I don't know. I think as a society, we have put a lot of emphasis on girls being young, that, youth is beauty. And the older you get, the less wanted you are, which is so sad because, aging is just a natural process. And
Yeah, you can't stop
I think
it
there's,
anyway.
yeah, it's silly, but I think women will lie because there's this idea that men will want you if you're younger, and the older you get, the less attractive you become.
So next one is, never have I ever seen a ghost.
I don't know if I've seen one, but we did, when I was younger at my mom's house, have an experience that could not be explained in any other way other than there was an entity in our home trying to help us. But we didn't see anything, but we just heard it.
So you had a paranormal experience.
Yes. Yes. Which I love. I fully believe in things like that, and I love hearing stories. And have you?
I haven't, but my friends have.
Yeah.
They've seen a ghost, or they just have
They
had an
just heard
experience?
someone cry their names in the dark.
Ooh, that's creepy. I
I
love
don't want
it.
to spook you at the time. I'll tell you the stories later on after the completion of the interview. Yeah. And never have I ever been the alibi for lying friend.
I absolutely have. Have you?
In the childhood.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have.
So the next one is, never have I ever disliked someone on the social platforms.
Just, is it someone I know in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. So the next one is, never have I ever bitched about someone I know.
Yeah.
Get back.
I try not to, but I have.
Girls keep doing that all the time.
You think girls do it more than guys do?
Yeah.
Do you think that it seems that way because girls maybe talk about it more?
I think girls seem to be inquiring a lot about each other. Do you wanna get married or not?
I don't know. I don't know. 10 years ago, I would have said yes, absolutely. And I think right now, at this time in my life, that just isn't something I want. But in a few years, maybe. Or if I were to meet someone that I wanted to, that could change my opinion. But as of now, not really. I'm not in a rush. What's like the average age people get married in India? Is there an age range, or is it at any time throughout your life?
That's between 25 and 28.
I'm already past the cutoff.
Good name.
25 and 28. That's so young.
That's young. Our parents say that you better get married or we'll throw you into the
Into
river.
the river.
Yeah.
I think my mom was like that with me for a while, because I'm an only child. I have no siblings. And so she's like, I want grandkids. You need to get married so I can have some grandkids. And now I think she's eased off a bit and she just wants me to be happy. But there's still a little bit of pressure to get rolling with that.
Are they finding you any suitor?
She tries. she's always looking, but no. No.
Will you get one for yourself, or
Can I get one for myself?
Yeah.
I guess. Maybe. I think it's hard to meet people right now during quarantine. You know, a lot of things are still shut down, so everybody's like using dating apps, which we talked about. Physical beauty isn't too important, and all those apps ask you to do is rate somebody based on how beautiful they look to you. So I don't use them.
okay? So what is the marriageable age there?
The marriage age. Oh my gosh, I feel like now it's very young. I feel most people are getting married and starting at maybe 22. I'd say anywhere like 22 to 27, 28.
Here,
Okay.
is intercaste marriage allowed there?
Oh, yeah. I think, sorry, this light. Yeah, I think it's a matter of what you're exposed to. There's, we have lower, middle, high class, but I think typically depending on, who they are with, who they spend their time with. If you kind of dabble and have friends and different ones, and you meet more people and there's more of an opportunity for that. But I guess if you keep a small circle, then you typically marry within that circle. There's 5 castes, right?
There are a lot of castes now.
Are there?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, what about where you are?
The same thing is there.
So you're not allowed
don't marry-
intercaste.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you surprised?
Damn.
What do you have to say about that?
I just don't think it makes much sense. I think to not be able to do the things you want to do in life because of the circumstances of which you were born into, I don't think that that's very fair. And I think that it inhibits a lot of people from living a meaningful life.
Scientifically, this is also wrong. If you get married in a close circle, that can lead to a lot of diseases.
Really? Wow. And still, things are staying as they are,
Yeah.
even knowing the dangers of it.
Do you also have anything like that?
Like what?
Like not getting married outside your caste or outside your race? Or are you free to do whatever you want to do?
Me personally?
Not in America.
In America, I don't even think it's much of a getting married outside of your caste. I think interracial marriage has become a big topic. Race in general in our country right now is a really big topic. And I think, our country is unfortunately built upon a really, is based on inequality. And there's still a lot of people who have that mindset that if you look a certain way, then you are not as human as we are, and you shouldn't have the same rights as we do. And unfortunately, that is still a really prevalent part of our society. But there is interracial marriages here, which I fully support, and because I don't think it matters. And if you two make each other happy, then you should be together, kind of a thing. But there's a lot of people who, my dad, for example, he grew up in the 40s and 50s where he was taught that interracial marriages were not all right. And so it's been really hard for him to accept that. And it was a conversation that he and I had to have just out of curiosity. Dad, what would you do if I found myself wanting to marry somebody who was not white?
So thank you, Sarah. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.